All right. Just introduce.
Hey, and we're back to Deano's Night Out, WRMN 1410. And as promised, I do have our guest on the phone right away, so I'm not going to make him wait. We got Ron Onesti on the line. Ron?
Good morning, Deano. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing today? Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, man.
So you know what? We tell everybody all the time all about Arcata Theater, but nobody could tell it better than you and about the different things that you've done, the different things that you built. I mean, you've put two venues together, restored them to such perfection. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, how that was, if you have the time to do so.
Well, the Arcata Theater it's in its 99th year, and we saved it from the wrecking ball about 20 years ago. And it's become an iconic venue that people enjoy from all over the country, actually, and actually outside. We've got people come from France and Germany and Italy all the time. You know, we have all these great acts. We call them heritage acts that been around forever. Your Paul Ankas and Engelbert Humperdinck's, and then your 70s people like the Journeys and Bostons and Kansas and Styx. And, you know, we're just having a great time just keeping the music alive. And the building during COVID, obviously we had some challenges. It was either close it or go all in. Decided to go all in. And we've got our speakeasy that is in its 90th year there, called Club Arcata. It's a full restaurant, and it's a dance club, and it's pretty cool. I mean, there's over 200 antiques there, girls in flapper dresses and young men in newsboy costumes. Great music, great entertainment. Then we've got, if you remember, Studio 54 in New York, back in the disco days.
Oh, the good days, yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're located on Route 64, North Avenue. So we opened up a dance club called Studio 64. And that's all a lot of fun, a lot of old school 70s Saturday Night Fever kind of stuff. And then we've got Rock and Ravioli, which is a restaurant concept that will be opening shortly. It's pretty cool, too. It's my very unique ravioli recipes. And then we've got a gaming room called the Barcata, with all the gambling machines, and Rock and Zada, rock and roll pizza experience. I mean, there's so much going on in St. Charles at the Arcata Theater building, entertainment concept and complex, that there's something for everybody, Dean.
You know what? You have done just that. I mean, when I watch everything that you've put together, I mean, how many different shows I've been to, I can't speak highly enough about it. I mean, you've outdone yourself. And, I believe, you're the one that said, just like the Field of Dreams, build it and they will come, And,
well, I used to think that would only happen in the movies.
Yeah.
But, we're trying to make it happen. So people are coming and they're enjoying themselves, especially, these days when, things are a little rough out there. You need a little break from humanity and, this is society. That's just a good place to come by and forget your world for 2 or 3, 4 hours.
And you've been very generous to the community. I mean, how many different times, every Christmas, you put out there and, look, if you need a Christmas gift, come over and see me personally. I'll get you guys tickets to any show you want to see. I know you also do another drive within, a special drive that you do at the Arcata. And it's, you're not like the average showman. You know what I mean? You are a showman, and this is what you do. But you are such a humble guy, and I always talk about this, and I open the show that way, kind of telling the gentleman that you are. And I know you don't do it all by yourself. You've got a staff, your brother's with you and everyone else that works with you, and that's great. But the way that you're able to put that all together, you got to be living your dream. This has got to be,
Well, you know what, Dean? It's very kind of you to say. I am living a dream, and you gotta give back, and what better way to give back than with music? No matter what tragedy, and a lot of people are going through tragedies and losing of loved ones, and maybe some health issues or losing a job or whatever it is, and music does heal a lot of the wounds, and we have that ability, so we try to share it with people, and it's important. I tell my people, so we have a responsibility as people um, are visiting us, and they come to us, and they're trying to forget. We don't. We have a responsibility to help take them away, feel better, and get away from it all for a minute. So, and and you touched on it also. I've got an incredible staff, incredible support team that believe in what we're trying to accomplish, and they love it too. So, if it's about music and meatballs, we're all about it.
One thing that's notable, and I think everybody would agree, from your door greeters to ticket takers to people serving the food, it's like everyone's having a good time. It's not a drudgery in any shape or form. They're just loving being there. And I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, you're around entertainment, you're around, and like I said, you meet so many different stars and so many big people, but you're still Ron. You know what I mean? Hey, yeah, I'm just Ron. I mean, how many times I've seen you throwing an apron on, and if someone needs a little help, you put the apron on, you do the cooking yourself. The meatball recipe is yours. I mean, you've served us in the Italian community how many different times? Your charity, not only in the Italian community, with the war veterans, how much more can you do to help? Your father was a war veteran, correct?
Yes, he was a World War II hero, and like I said, we all do it. We all do it in our own ways, and I don't think about it. We just do it, and I'm just if you have the opportunity to give back and to provide something that really affects people's lives, I think that's a gift. So I consider it a responsibility and an honor. Don't take it lightly. None of my people do, and it comes back to you. It really does. I mean, it comes back with some great smiles of veterans and seniors and people.
The Sports Hall of Fame. How about that now? Now you're doing things for the Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Sports Hall of Fame. We've got our permits, we've got our funding, we've got our drawings, the architectural drawings. Everything's ready to go. We started the process already, and that'll be opening up probably at the end of summer. Very excited about that.
And that's located on Harlem, correct?
Yeah, new building on Harlem between Belmont and Addison, and it's really something. People are just loving that too. They can't wait. And every day I get calls from all over the country. People just waiting to come visit, and they want to see what's going on Harlem Avenue. Really turning that into another Italian experience, Italian neighborhood, with new restaurants, cafes, and some other surprises that we'll be announcing soon. That's happening actually on Harlem.
Well, feel free to come here anytime, Ron. You want to let it know what's coming on, or you've broke a few things over here on our station, and we thank you for that.
Yes,
and we definitely thank you for supporting this show. We've brought some good people on already. We've got some great guests lined up to come. I mean, Vito Zotto's going to be coming on pretty soon. I know he's a regular over by you.
He's irregular.
Yeah, he is very irregular.
He's doing a great job with that with the radio station, Dean. I mean, we need this kind of stuff. We all grew up with radio. I don't know about our kids today, but we grew up with radio, and that's such an important communication and art and entertainment form. And you stepping up to do it took a lot of guts. So, we're here to support you and what you're trying to accomplish over there. And WRM is such a historic station anyway, in our community, and you're taking it to the next level. And it's noticeable. Believe me, it's very noticeable.
Well, we appreciate that. I mean, we're trying to service the Fox River Valley, which again, we're trying to, we're bringing you in the area, St. Charles, Geneva, Hampshire, everybody, Burlington, you name it. We're trying to get them out here. Pingery Grove. I mean, we want everybody to know that this is who we represent. Yeah, we're Elgin. Elgin's the sixth largest city in the state of Illinois. So, of course, they have a few more things going on than maybe some of the others. But, with your support and with you helping us, Ron, I'm living my dream. I was blessed to partner up with, Sonar, Dennis Green, and we have parallel thoughts and ideas, and we're trying to give the people what they want. I kind of watch you, and I see what you do, and I say, look, that's what he's doing. He's giving people what they want. And I like that. So I appreciate you joining us. I got a guest, in-house guest. Do you mind that I introduce you to him?
Sure.
I'm going to switch over. I don't know if you're watching on the YouTube. We are on YouTube as well. And if anybody wants to call in, you want to talk to either Ron or Nesty or Andrew Roffey, that's our guy that's in here. Andrew, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Let's do that one more time. I had the wrong mic on.
All right, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad that you made it in the studio too.
Yeah, I'm here in the studio. I brought my passport and came out to Elgin.
Yeah, well, the password, that's tough now. Don't
That
repeat
is
that
very
to
hard.
nobody.
That's
Beautiful.
right.
Yeah, he's going to be appearing tonight. He's going to be opening over at the Comedy Vault. Is that correct?
Yeah, Comedy Vault in Batavia. Yeah, we had a show last
that's
night. We
cool.
got 2 tomorrow, 2 Saturday. The first one sold out, but my buddy Sam Tripoli is in town. I knew him from my days in LA, and yeah, we're doing some shows and having some fun, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I tell you, we're going to have to introduce you to Ron because I've seen Ron. If you haven't seen Andrew's work, I'm sure you heard of it.
Absolutely have.
Yeah, I mean,
It's an honor to meet you, Andrew.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. You were talking about all these legacy bands, and I was like, these are the bands I listen to. Like, it can't be that old. But like like yacht rock is like my absolute favorite genre of music. And
Wow, we
so,
just had a really big yacht rock show last night with a band called the Docksiders, the biggest one in Las Vegas.
oh man, I'm so sorry I
Yeah, yacht
missed
rock
that.
has taken over. You're right.
Yeah, did you see the documentary on HBO?
Heck yeah, man. These guys were in that. And
Oh, were they really?
yeah, with the music of Orleans, Player, Ambrosia, of course, Christopher Cross,
Yeah.
Little River Band. I mean, all these great bands we grew up with. Heck yeah.
On my drive over here, I was listening to Foreigner. So, and if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
only listening, you think he sounds like he's 80 years old. I'm not, but I feel that like I am. I'm an old man and a
Yeah, we're
youngish
all old
person
men.
body. I know. No, but that's yeah, those old theaters are so beautiful and they have so much history. I love performing them over, years I've been in comedy. I've gotten to perform at some really beautiful old historic theaters that were refurbished, and yeah, man, you sort of feel like the ghosts of the pastime performers and those on stage and in those seats. So I have a great affinity for those types of stages.
I think what I'm going to do one night, Ron, and if you have the time when I know you're going to be there, I'll bring Andrew over for dinner, and we'll show him around, and we'll have him catch one of the shows. But you'll get a kick out of Andrew. I mean, he's really just hilarious. I mean, he's just, he's just got some
Yeah, we
great
do a
stuff.
lot of the comics. I know, obviously we have Nikki Smiggs is originally from.
Yeah, I've done
From
some shows with
Chicago.
him. Yep.
Yeah, Nikki, Mike Marino. Let's Make America Italian Again was just here. Uncle Louie was just here. We got Frank Spadone, who's going to be here in next week. I mean, we get them all in, and we got to put you on our welcome list at our theaters.
Well, you got a little Italian blood in you, isn't that
You
true?
know what? I probably do somewhere, but yeah, it's I have a bit about this, and I've done some videos. It's like I am ethnically ambiguous, so oftentimes people think I'm Italian. But no, not that I'm aware of. I have a full-on Jew, but somewhere over in the old country, we probably were doing something together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if it wasn't for us, the mob would not have been what it was.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And that's because of Lepke. Is that the guy? Is that the guy you want to claim?
Well, there was
Meyer Lansky.
Meyer Lansky, and yeah, there was
Bugsy Siegel.
Arnold Rothstein,
Oh, Bugsy
Bugsy
Siegel,
Siegel,
for sure.
yeah.
1919.
Yeah.
Mr. Vegas.
Black
Yeah,
Sox.
the White Sox, yeah, that's all because of Arnold Rothstein.
Wow. Yeah. All right, well, great. Listen, Ron, I didn't want to tie you up. I'm really glad you called in. Thank you very much for being a part of this. We're going to take maybe a quick break, but thank you very much for calling in, and we're going to surprise you. But, before you leave, do me one favor. Explain that Lauren Fox show that you have at the Arcada on Saturday, and they're in the Des Plaines Theater tonight. Could you tell me what that's all
Yeah,
about?
well, actually, it's been kind of a soft rock weekend. We had, as I mentioned, the Docksiders doing the yacht rock last night, and then tonight and tomorrow we have an incredible salute to the music of Carole King and Joni Mitchell, which is late 60s, and then we also have a great salute to the music of Seals and Crofts, like Summer Breeze and all those great songs by actually family members of Seals and Crofts themselves. So it's it's kind of a soft rock weekend. People are loving it. This is the kind of music we grew up with. So come on over. Arcada Theater and the Des Plaines Theater, which is enjoying its 100th anniversary this year.
Oh, son of a gun! Look at that.
I feel like you've done a couple of shows with Don Kronberg. Would I be wrong to assume that?
Yeah, Donnie and I go back about 30 years.
Boy, have I been on the road with Donnie.
Yep.
Donnie and I have traveled the road together.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And when you're mentioning when you're mentioning these theaters and all these acts, I'm like, oh God, he's got to know Don. He has to know Don for sure.
Very small circle.
Yeah.
This kind of thing out here.
Yeah.
So I wish you the best, man.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
sir.
at the show.
Appreciate it.
Ron, again, thank you for calling in. Have a great day.
You got it, Deano.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And there you had it, everybody. Ron Onesti from oshows.com. That's our guy. He supports the show each and every week. We're glad to have him on. Glad to just be friends with Ron. I've known Ron for a lot of years. And he is the guy that he is. You see him talking. He meets Andrew for the first time. And you see the dialogue and the conversation. This is how he treats each and every person that walks into his establishments, into his venue. So let's talk about Andrew. Andrew, we got a few minutes before we're going to go to the top of the hour. So why don't we? I got a few things now.
You wrote some questions down.
Yeah, you know what? I'm new at this, so I have to
is
do
real
this.
professional. I didn't realize I was walking into such a professional joint.
This is where you are, man.
Yeah.
We're the talk of the town.
You got the suit and tie. You look
How you
nice.
like that? Well, thank you.
You look good.
Yeah, I got to dress up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm dressed today like I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I appreciate
that's okay.
you making it look nice.
Yeah, that's okay. We do for both of us. But you've been doing comedy for how many years now?
Stand up around 6, but I before that I've been an actor and a writer. So I've been in comedy, and then before I was in Second City doing improvisational theater.
Yeah, you're an alumni from the Second City.
Well, through the conservatory. I never did any of the main shows because I left to move to LA right after I finished with my training. But so I've been in it, God, since I 19, 20 years old, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You're still at a young age. You're still experiencing. And you like this industry? Is this still doing it for you?
I do. Yeah. It's a real tough racket. There's but it's really the only thing I want to do because they're not letting me run the Cubs and I don't have enough credentials to be the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that one. I don't know that you might.
Yeah,
I think you may even be able to do better than what they got now.
I might move to Elgin.
Yeah.
So as long as the Ricketts family keeps me away from running the Cubs, comedy is my dream job. It's what I always wanted to do. I've gotten some lucky breaks and been at the right place at the right time and having some fun. I'm still relatively new in the stand-up world. In terms of, it takes, sometimes guys 10, 15 years to really hit it big. And I'm, in year 6 and,
yeah, but you've got some great awards already.
What's that?
You've got some great awards already. I've seen the awards on your, I did some research on the websites that you have and, you got some.
Yeah. As a writer, we've gotten a couple of things. But it started, the stand-up portion started, working with, Charlie Barons, who, a lot of people know he's the Midwest guy. He's real tight in with the Green Bay Packers. He's from Wisconsin. And I started working with Charlie when I was in LA. I was just a producer for him, and I was writing stuff for him. And we'd go on these long car rides through Wisconsin when he first started doing his stand-up shows. And I'd tell him jokes or pitch him ideas. And he goes, I can tell you really want to do this thing. And I go, yeah, I haven't had the cojones to go try. And he goes, you got to go do it. So a few months later, I went to an open mic, tried, and I was just like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I never stopped. It's just been like that persistence of just constantly wanting to do it, always thinking about jokes.
So you were writing, you're saying you're writing and you're acting, and I get it.
Yeah, still doing that.
So being an actor, I guess you could stand up in front of just about anybody. I want you to be this type of person. You could portray that if you're any kind of an actor. I get
As
it.
long as they're negative and unhappy.
Yeah, there you
absolutely
go. Yeah,
do that.
negativity is
Yeah.
definitely what's good.
Yeah.
That feeds the Jewish guilt, I think.
Exactly,
Right?
of course.
You got to have the Jewish guilt.
I try to escape it every day. I can't.
It's tough.
It's
Could you imagine being full Italian and Jewish guilt? Italian and Jewish guilt together?
They're probably. Do you know people like that?
You'd be yeah, they're all in comas. They're in the hospital.
Yeah, seriously. That's why I get along with the Catholics so
Yeah,
well
there you
because
go.
yeah, we understand each other very, very well.
Yeah, if anybody could guilt you in a donation,
That's right.
that's the venue.
Absolutely.
But what the question I'm really trying to get to is, I do a lot of different charity work, and I have no problem talking on a microphone, getting in front of people, congregation, church, serious or even otherwise. But that first time you do that comedy thing, that you're doing the jokes.
Yeah.
You're not giving them to your friend Charlie or
Yeah.
writing them for someone else. Is that that's got to be a little intimidating? Is it?
For sure. I mean, well, especially my first experience on stage is pretty unique. So Charlie and I were having these conversations, and I was starting to write some things, and we were doing his first big shows in Manitowoc at what's the name of that theater? I'm blanking on the name of the theater. It's an old restored theater, and it's
Wisconsin?
Yeah, in
by Lake Wazzapamani?
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
This was in Manitowoc, because Charlie has the Manitowoc Minute, which was his big fake news show that he did that sort of put him on the map. And so this theater, there were about 1,200 people. It was sold out, and we'd booked an opener, a buddy of mine, and he hadn't prepared enough time, and so the show was I don't know, 5-7 minutes short, and so Charlie was like, "Hey man, you're on tonight." So the first time I ever did stand-up comedy was in front of 1,200 people.
Freaked you out a little bit? I had to. Tell me the truth.
Yeah, but after I did it, it was like, oh,
But
yeah.
my thing would be, like you said, I got these notes and that. And I do the research, and I know who's coming on and know a lot about the different people, and we'll talk about that at the top of the next hour, next segment. But, I see all the TikTok videos, but my thing would be, how do you remember the jokes you're going to tell? What sequence do you want to put them in?
Yeah.
And imagine, I mean, every entertainer I've spoken to, it's always about knowing your audience, reading the crowd.
Absolutely, 100%.
So if you have a crowd that you got this, whole shtick that you're going to do about whatever the topic, and you see the crowd just nothing over their face, you got to change gears. So
100%. How do I do that?
Yeah.
Well, I write my jokes verbatim. So my jokes are literally written as they would be in a script. Because, an extra syllable can kill a joke or kill a punchline, which ultimately could kill a joke. But, I, in terms of memorization, it's just doing them over and over again. It's funny. I'll get sides for an audition script. I'll be a couple pages. I'm like, how am I going to memorize this? But yet I can go on stage and, do 25, 30 minutes. It's 8-9 pages, and I have it down.
And you get it all here.
Yeah. It's doing it a lot. I think there's some sort of science behind doing something in front of an audience that sort of makes you memorize it more clearly, or something functions in your brain. I take a lot of lion's mane, which is a mushroom nootropic. It doesn't get you high. It's not that kind of mushroom. Unfortunately, to those you listen, I'm
strengthens the memory.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Friday night. But it's just and in terms of that, which I think we can get into later. But I definitely have to. I try now and sort of tailor my act to the audience. I'll sometimes take a peek around and see, is it older, is it younger, what's the vibe, especially depending on the location. Because I've had some interesting situations happen where my act didn't fit the needs to what the audience was sort of looking for. So it is. I don't just have one act where I'm like, this is it, take it or leave it. I really try and cater to, what's going on with the audience, what's the vibe of the audience.
I got you. Well, listen, we're going to be back in just a little bit. Listen to WRMN 1410. Listen with Andrew Ruffy.
And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling. Boss. Work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 3 o'clock.
This is WRMN News.
Hello, I'm Dennis Green. President Trump on Thursday signed a number of executive orders, including one that will release any remaining government files on the assassinations of former President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert F. Kennedy, and civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr. News Nation's Kelly Meyer with more on what's in that order.
15 days from today, his teams will present a plan for full disclosure of these records. The plan will be presented to President Trump to decide when to release that in full, the full and complete disclosure of those records. That's for JFK Jr. Then it'll be 45 days from today for RFK as well as MLK. So they're going to present a plan to the president, and then they will decide on releasing those records in full.
Thousands of previously classified documents from the government's review of the JFK assassination have previously been released to the public. However, more files remain under wraps, including files on Jeffrey Epstein, who died in 2017 under DOJ custody. Yesterday, President Trump also took questions in the Oval Office from reporters and was asked whether a recently announced IA joint venture would lead to Americans losing their jobs.
It's going to create tremendous numbers of jobs. It's going to also create a lot of benefits medically for cancer research and other things. It's going to have a huge positive impact.
The joint venture with OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, called Stargate, will build large-scale AI data centers in the United States. For WRMN News, I'm Dennis Green.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan. Brought to you by Progressive. The RJM Group in Naperville is set to host a comprehensive self-defense seminar. It's scheduled for February 1st at the Benet Academy in Lisle. The 2-hour session, running from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m., will cover situational awareness techniques and basic self-defense skills at a cost of $40. Elgin's art scene is in the spotlight tonight with the Nancy Kimball Cobblestone House hosting the opening reception of Capturing the Moment, a vibrant oil painting exhibition by local artist Nick Freeman from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. The exhibit features works from Freeman's 6 decades as an artist. 5 renowned Broadway performers are set to grace the stage at Wentz Concert Hall in Naperville for the Illinois Conservatory for the Arts Fundraiser on February 21st. Highlighting the evening will be a performance by Miles Frost, celebrated for his 2022 Tony Award win in MJ the Musical. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan.
Anywhere else, Tuesday is just, well, Tuesday. But if you're at KFC, Tuesday is $10 Tuesday, which means you can get 8 hot, juicy drums and thighs for just $10. Let me say that again. 8 pieces of hot, juicy, original recipe chicken, hand-breaded in 11 herbs and spices. All for just $10 every Tuesday. Only at KFC. Guess Tuesday isn't just Tuesday anymore. It's finger-licking good. Prices and participation may vary. Tax, tips, and fees extra.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 21, falling to around 18. Gusty winds up to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers before midnight, mostly cloudy with a low around 16. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high near 35. Currently, it is 19 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful.
Hi, this is Matayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment.
Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Deano's Night Out on WRMN. It's the talk of the town, so come on and listen now. It's Deano's Night Out on WRMN.
There we go. I got Andrew Roffey with me in the studio, and we're going to keep talking a little bit some more about him. Andrew's a great comedian, excellent comedian. So I see also we have a phone caller that's in, so we're going to get that phone call in just as quick as we can. But we just want to continue our conversation. Andrew's got some good insight to us here, and let's get this phone call, see who we got on the line. Hello, caller, WRMN. Who's on the line?
Hey, how you doing? Downtown Jose, what's up? Deano and Andrew. Hey, I just want to ask Andrew, who was this comedian that wanted him to get into comedian? I mean, did he look up to anybody that
You like his inspiration? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, like who got him into saying, you know what, maybe let me try this.
Oh, that's a great question. I liked a lot of the old school guys. I mean, Don Rickles is one of my heroes for sure. Growing up loving Dave Chappelle, as so many people did, Sarah Silverman. I liked a guy named Paul Mooney, who was a writer for Richard Pryor.
Yeah, Richard Pryor is my favorite.
Oh, you loved him?
Yeah, he was my favorite. But back in the day, a lot of people didn't like him because he kept it real and he cussed.
Yeah.
But that's what made Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I try not to steal any of his jokes. It doesn't work as well when I do them.
No. and I love Don Rickles because he always had one-liners where he would be on Johnny Carson's show. And he would come right back at Johnny Carson.
I've watched all those on YouTube.
And he's Italian,
I'm sorry, say again?
What's his name? Don Rickles, he was Italian.
No, Jewish.
No, Jewish.
Oh, Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay, but he would always have one-liners to come back real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in the movie Casino, so maybe he thought yeah. But no,
it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. There are so many that I loved, and also I loved In Living Color and Saturday Night Live and Mad TV, also Rodney Dangerfield was a hero of mine, and Caddyshack and a lot of those movies.
I get no respect, right?
No respect. Yeah.
No, In Living Color was a great show. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that show today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people said, I don't know. I feel like maybe not on Fox, maybe, but I think it's. I I think now is the time to sort of do more cutting edge comedy. I think that too much of it is a little bit soft, and I don't think people being offensive just to be offensive. I think it's a bad comedy. I don't get offended as a human. I think I'm more offended as a comedian. But when really good comedy pushes the bounds. I mean, to me, I think like one of the greatest ever duo is Sacha Baron Cohen with Ali G and Borat and Bruno. Those movies.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just
funny.
that guy. I mean, he's such a genius. He's so brilliant. And so when, comedy really makes you think and it makes you maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but you like it and you want to hear more, I mean, that's really when there's that power. But, also, laughing at fart jokes is also incredible. And like 80% of what I
pull
laugh
my
at.
finger.
Exactly, man. It's like 80% of what I laugh at off stage. So,
Sure.
but,
At the end of the day, you got to make people laugh. Andrew, do you like Cat Williams?
I do like Cat Williams. I mean, what I admire most about Cat Williams is how fearless he is. I mean, that guy is afraid of nothing.
Fearless.
And he, there was an interview a few years ago where he was in Atlanta and the radio host was sort of giving him a hard time, sort of roasting him. And then
Is that Wanda?
Wanda, and I think she passed recently, actually. She may have passed recently.
Oh, man, God bless her soul if she did.
Yeah, but she was, and I'm thinking like, why roast any comedian? But like, if someone had said to me, who would be the last person you'd ever want to roast in the world? I would say Cat Williams, because he would make me cry within 30 seconds. I would never go. That's like going against Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And so
You can't win against Cat Williams.
yeah, you cannot win against him. So, I think probably some of the stuff he says is outlandish or, it's some
He
truth.
makes it funny, man.
Yeah, but he's not afraid of anybody, and in an industry where you sort of have to bite your tongue and take your lumps and people treat you poorly, that's not Cat Williams. He marches to the beat of his own drummer, and
He's his mind.
yeah, and he's
Andrew, my second favorite actor was the late Bernie Mac.
oh yeah, Chicago's own.
He was he was the original king of comedy besides Richard Pryor.
Yeah, let me tell you something, America. Remember how he would always sound off like that?
I mean, the Bernie Mac, one of his first appearance on Def Comedy Jam, when he had the audience in the palm of his hand. That, I mean, is like, that's the greatest reaction you could ever get as a comedian. I mean, I watched it. I'm like, God, I want that one day where he had
He's the
them.
one that said, I ain't scared of you guys.
That's right.
But in regular terms, he goes, I ain't scared of you. You know what I'm talking about. Now.
I know exactly. You're trying to be polite because you're on the radio. I got you though.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, but listen, Andrew, I want to say, keep doing your thing, man, and the sky's the limit. And Deano, you have a great show and great guests, and God bless you guys.
Appreciate
Thank you very much, Jose.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Hi, Dino, Andrew, it's Sidekick Susan.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Well, God bless you guys, and keep doing your thing, Andrew. The sky's the limit, brother.
Thank you, man. Be safe out there.
We'll catch you later.
All right, God bless you guys both.
Too.
All right, bye-bye. Hey, Andrew, why don't you tell us real quick so we can let Jose maybe check you out while he's listening to us, too. How would somebody find you on TikTok or your website?
Oh, yeah. So you can go to andrewroffe.com, R-O-F like Frank, F like Frank E, or on all my socials, it's ASAP_Roffe, which is a play on the famous rapper ASAP Rocky. But yeah, we are not related.
No?
Yeah, no, I'm not a Johnny hip hop star. Not yet.
See a little bit
not
of
yet. I'm not married to Rihanna yet.
No,
but
that's okay.
yeah, so ASAP Roffe, you can follow me on any of those platforms. TikTok is back, so you can do that one. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X. I don't really use X, but I'm there. So if you're a big X guy and you want to follow me, do that. Just not on LinkedIn.
No.
I'm not using that one as much these days.
Very good.
And no stand-up comedian should. A lot of stand-up comedians have LinkedIn. I mean, I guess they technically have one. I'm like, why? If you're a stand-up comedian, you've said to the world, I have no skills. I cannot work in corporate America. we should be disqualified from ever using a LinkedIn.
I agree with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you make 100% sense.
Yeah.
There. But those of you watching on YouTube, you can see some pictures of Andrew. You see him live on the screen as well.
Why did you pick the one where I'm much fatter and have a beard? Come on, Dean. I've lost a lot of weight. Yeah.
You know, it's what I grabbed. I'm sorry
right.
about that. Here, how's those?
That's worse.
Nah, that's
okay.
not so bad. These are some good clips. If you haven't had a chance, you'll want to go to the website. You'll want to check them all out. I'm telling you, you won't stop laughing. So, yeah. And then, Jose, thanks a lot. You asked all the questions that I was going to ask, but that's okay.
You can make some up.
I got a ton of them for you. Don't worry. I could co-host with Jose anytime at all. But, you know, we were talking before. One of the ones that you mentioned, one of the greats, my all-time favorite, Don Rickles.
Oh, yeah, my favorite.
What a guy that everybody thought he was the, they coined him as the Venom of, you know, late night. And he would go after everybody. But, you know, he did it with such class. He made fun of everybody. He would make fun of every race, every single, you know, no matter what you were, he'd find a stereotype to make fun of it.
Right.
But what was beautiful about Don Rickles, if you agree with me, he would always say, look, I do this in fun. And he would always end it with, I meant no, you know, this is all unjust. This is all to make people laugh, to make people smile. And he always referenced God, you know, above that this is what drives him. Yeah. And that we're all one. And that, you know, he's a really humble guy.
I mean, getting insulted by Don Rickles would have, had I got to meet him, probably would have been my greatest accomplishment in life. No, I mean, it was a badge of honor. And, you know, it's so easy now, especially for this younger generation, to look back at comedy and be like, how dare they say that? And it's like, some of it, you know, I'm not speaking broadly here, not just about Don Rickles. Some of it, yeah, it did like miss the mark to today's standards, but also people were having a really good time, you know? And so, yeah, people just want to laugh and just be down to clown, you know? I would say like some of the absolute best places to do a show are like what you call like sort of a purple city, which can be like a red state with like a more like liberal surrounding area. So you get a really good mix of, you know, people's, you know, political beliefs and demographics. And the two worst types of audience members I can perform for are people who are way on the alt-right or people way on the alt-left. Everything in
they're getting no humor at that point. Nothing.
No, because
they're all going over their head.
Right, but everything in between, which is the vast majority of this country, they're just down to have a good time and laugh and not take themselves so seriously. So, yeah, I mean, I've had people, you know, from both parties, you know, give me say real nice things after a show, because that's the thing is like, you know, I get asked a lot of the time, like, and do we need to go to break, or we have?
No, we're fine. We're good till the bottom of the hour.
Okay, cool. People ask all the time, like, what's off limits? I don't know. That's a way above my pay grade. I mean, there are certain topics I don't talk about just because I don't have the drive or the ambition to make them funny. But I guess anything could be funny. There's some topics that I just, I'm not really interested in making funny, but that doesn't say like it's impossible. But when I'm doing a show, the way I approach it is, and I'd say I'm PG-13-ish. I don't really curse. I don't talk a lot about politics or make a lot of sexual innuendo or stuff like that. I also started comedy really late, and so I wanted to find a way to get on TV or perform for other people. I wanted to do it quicker, so I decided like I was gonna just clean up my act. Also, I was going to these open mics, and I would see all these people who are just trying to be offensive and saying disgusting things, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Well, that's that shock. You know, comedians that want to do shock. And, shock's cool if you have, if you're a writer like yourself and you've written 20 scripts of shock, that one could connect to the other, to the other, to the other. But once you shock them and now it's done, it's like, okay, where are you going? What's the next show going to be?
Anthony,
you have to outshock your shock.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Anthony Jeselnik was talking about this. And I don't know if it was him who said it or if he was repeating a quote. It could have been Andy Warhol, but it was like, comedy is like getting away with it, meaning you say something really offensive or inappropriate, but it's so funny you don't focus on the offensive part. And so like a lot of the times when people go up there and they try to make some really dark joke, it often misses because they're not that great at comedy and they just are going for like the shock and awe of being offensive, which just to me is just like, it's just lazy. But when I'm writing jokes or I'm going up on stage, like, it's a privilege and an honor to get to be able to do this for a living. And when people are coming to a comedy show with things, and I'm not trying to be sort of a people pleaser or like, not to speak my mind or have a perspective, but when people are coming to a comedy show, I keep these things into consideration. Is they've paid for tickets. It's a 2-item minimum. They've paid for parking. They may have paid for a babysitter. They may have gone to dinner. So you're looking at least $100 or plus night out. Why do I want to say something so stupid and awful that's going to make them leave and ruin their night? And again, my comedy's not for everybody, and people aren't going to like me for X, Y, and Z. But I just thought it was so lazy just to go up there and say awful things, just so people are like, oh, that was awful, and I was really looking forward to this night. So I really, I really try and bring a really good time to the crowd, and just not be so sharp and vitriolic. It just, I don't know. It's just not my thing. And I see it all the time. People do it, and there are a couple of people sort of laughing in the back, but I don't know.
Well, in comedy like that, then you're getting people that want to laugh, but they're scared to laugh because they don't know if it's okay to laugh.
Right.
If you're starting doing that sharp stuff, and you brought up something, that's really unique. If you said Andy Warhol said it, it's like being able to tell the joke and get away with it.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? It's almost like, well, I was only kidding, but you don't have to say only kidding.
Right, exactly.
So if your delivery is right,
yeah,
and I mean, just listening to what you're saying, so it's kind of like that same thing. If your delivery is proper and the joke is good, you don't got, I was only kidding. Well, this is what you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
And it was good, and it floated.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've especially doing comedy, you perform in smaller towns or smaller cities, and especially touring with Charlie, who's he's got a Midwest audience, which probably leans more conservative. There's part of my act where I talk about being a gay person. And when I first, tell the audience that, sometimes you can sort of feel like a gasp or like this sort of like tightening up.
Yeah.
And then...
But why? Still today?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they're thinking that I'm going to sort of come with like some sort of agenda or something. I missed that meeting.
I've heard your comedy, though.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's no overtones of
nothing, and so then
but laughing.
I sort of like, I diffused a little bit, and then like it's some of my biggest laughs, and like I'll tell you, like I've done shows in Iowa and Nebraska and Wisconsin, like all these Indiana, where like people have just laughed and had a really good time because it's just like. I'm more of making fun of like a lot of LGBT things because some of it is just so insane. And like, as I was telling you, like I have this joke I do. I don't do it as much now because I'm working on a lot of new stuff. But one of the jokes that I think is most like critical to my identity is I talk about how like I could be a training wheels gay for homophobes. Okay. Right? Like if you're a homophobe, like you can't meet the drag queen, like that's too much for you. But like you can meet me, we could talk about sports. I'm pretty centrist in my politics. Like we can talk about that, talk about history, stuff like that. And like you could get to know me and like me. But like like that, then that's sort of like your gateway into like knowing a gay person. But I think like that's the thing is I think when people hear that like LGBT, I think, and because we are so polarized. I don't blame people for thinking like, oh God, here comes some like crazy woke ideology when I just want to have a good time. And so I'm pretty quick at diffusing that because I'm not interested in that. I don't like have that ideology. But I definitely at the same time, like I do get some pushback. Like there have been people who have sent me direct messages or emails or written online about how I come to shows and spread some agenda, and I'm like, I would be happy to like tell me which joke it was. Like I would love to have an opportunity to defend the jokes that you say are like sort of spreading this like LGBT like indoctrination of your kids. Like I say, like I sort of like I talk about in my shows. Like one of my jokes is like how I talk about like I am not trying to recruit your kids. It's not Pride Month. I was like, but come next June, it is game on, folks. And I don't even know this, but for every kid I get, $25 gift card to Target.
There you go.
Yeah, and I need some new blend. I need a new blender. So.
And I like what you said about the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Oh yeah, I don't do that joke anymore. But I was like, people who are offended by my jokes, like your Chick-fil-A will still taste the same. Yeah, you're all good. Yeah.
And then the other one, I don't know if you're comfortable with doing. What was the LG? What did the letters stand for in your one?
It'll stand for. Is it that like
the different foods?
Oh, that was a Jewish thing when I did a TikTok video where this guy was talking. This woman had asked him what his sexuality was, and he said Jewish, and I was like, oh, his LGBT was like latke, bagel, simmis, and latkes, gefilte fish, bagels, and simmis.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so it's but I mean that's why I'm so honored is like when I would perform in some of these places where, either you don't have Jewish friends or you don't have gay friends, but I get on stage and people laugh and have a great time. It is like one of my greatest honors in life that like people are like just willing to like just have a good time and laugh and leave all that stuff at the door. Because like I said, like I'm not interested in, I mean, there are comedians who get on stage and they just like, it's like they're doing a TED talk on politics. And it's like, where's the punchline? Where's the joke, man? Like, people really don't want to hear that, and I'm glad they don't, because I don't want to talk about super divisive things on stage. Like, it's not some comics.
You're there to bring people together,
absolutely,
in union, and to make everybody laugh together, no matter who they're sitting next to, no matter what their politics are. And that's what I applaud about you.
Thank you.
You know, you said like you perform as if it's a privilege, and that means this is your passion. This is what you want to do. Yeah. So you could tell it. And I speak often about humility. People that are humble, man, you got me right there. And you're one of those guys.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Well, it's sincere. Because the way you talk, the way you are, you just, look, man, you're doing a job. And, hey, everybody needs earn a paycheck, and you're earning one. And you're doing a great job at it. But you want to have your sense of who you are.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just a phony. And you want to be able to, give the best product that you can, and yet still be respectful of everybody around you.
Yeah, there's I'm blanking on which comedian said it. Pete Holmes, I think, said it. Was like he said on stage, like if you're not on stage telling secrets, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I think and that's sort of a it's sort of a embellished way of saying like if you're not on stage and being your honest, authentic self, like what are you doing up there? I mean, because like that's the thing is like people are really, really drawn to authenticity. That's why you see like a guy like Bert Kreischer, who I don't know a lot of his work as a comedian, but what I appreciate so much about Bert Kreischer is like if you see him on stage and you met him in real life, like that is exactly who you're getting. You are getting that guy. And I think he's just so honest and vulnerable and raw. I may not be your style of comedy. I guess I don't know his work all that well, but I'm so inspired by people who go on stage and it's just like, this is me, take it or leave it. So yeah, I mean, there are people, there are comedians who, aren't open about their sexuality or things and are
not that number demons. One. None of that is like really nobody's business.
No, it's not. But I think if you're a stand-up comedian, I mean, and you're like refusing to talk about, I don't know. I mean, I think
I'm not saying you should refuse it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you don't even have to lead with it, and if it comes up, you don't got to hide nothing. What are you embarrassed about? Nothing.
Me? Oh,
no, I know you're not. I'm just saying.
A lot.
But I'm sorry.
Well, not about that, but. If did you take Blue Cross Blue Shield?
No, not that.
Okay.
Anything but.
Okay, because I was going to say we could really get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents did a number on me.
Did they?
Nah.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Yeah, there's a great quote by Ray Romano who said, "If my dad just hugged me a little bit more, I would have been an accountant."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing.
Another great comedian. How about?
Yeah, he's so great. It's my Everybody Loves Raymond is one of my mom's favorite shows, and growing up I didn't really watch it, but I started watching a little bit more, and that show was created by a guy named Phil Rosenthal, who I actually auditioned for before, and he was a really, really sweet guy. But the writing on that show is so good. It's amazing. You look back at these multicam shows like Everybody Is Raymond, Seinfeld, Roseanne, and they're like one-act plays. They're so beautifully written, and it's just that multicam live sitcom. It's not there anymore.
No, nothing is.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm going to have to put him on just a little temporary pause. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to WRMN 1410. And we got in the studio live right here on 14 Douglas, Andrew Roffey. What a comedian. You got to catch him. AndrewRoffey.com?
Yeah, AndrewRoffey.com.
AndrewRoffey.com.
At the Comedy Vault this weekend. That's in Batavia. Come check us out.
You're going to stick around after this break?
I'll stick around
What
for
a
you.
guy.
I'm going to stare at the gelato shop.
My man. All right. We're going to have Andrew come back right after this little bottom of the hour, and then we'll finish up with Andrew. Thank you very much for listening. WRMN 1410, Voice of the Valley, Talk of the Town.
With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Curdan. Brought to you by Progressive. A former student at South Elgin High School is being celebrated. Derry Barnes is a nominee for the prestigious Television Academy Foundation College Television Award. This comes for his work on the University of Miami's Sports Desk. The Elgin City Council is considering a new ordinance that would make panhandling in street medians and crosswalks illegal. Citing safety concerns, the ordinance aims to prohibit these areas as spots for any public solicitation. A final decision is expected next month. Elgin is celebrating the life of Marlene Shales, a community pillar and former city council member, this Saturday. The memorial service is scheduled to take place at Cornerstone United Methodist Church from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Shales, who passed away at the age of 93 back in November, was revered for her extensive public service. With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Curdan.
Anywhere else, Tuesday is just, well, Tuesday. But if you're at KFC, Tuesday is $10 Tuesday, which means you can get 8 hot, juicy drums and thighs for just $10. Let me say that again. 8 pieces of hot, juicy, original recipe chicken, hand-breaded in 11 herbs and spices. All for just $10 every Tuesday. Only at KFC. Guess Tuesday isn't just Tuesday anymore. It's finger-licking good. Prices and participation may vary. Tax, tips, and fees extra.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has 2 convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400 now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 21. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers before midnight. Mostly cloudy with a low around 16, rising to 18 overnight. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high near 35. Currently, it is 20 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
And we are back. Listen to WRMN 1410, Deano's Night Out. And we've got a great guy in the studio over here, Andrew Roffey. And we've been having a great conversation.
Yeah.
If folks, you want to call in, by all means, please do. You could do so at 847-931-1410. Love to take your call. If you got a question for Andrew, please give us a call. But we really don't need you because I'm having a good conversation here.
That's
to
true.
be quite honest with you. I'm enjoying this interview. So, I told you briefly, when we come back, you mentioned that you were doing a writing, you were an actor.
Yeah.
So, and that's with that Charlie, correct?
Yeah.
Your friend Charlie. And I don't know how you say his last name?
Barons.
Barons, okay.
Yeah.
So, I almost draw the line that Larry David, he was the writer for Seinfeld
Yes.
for all these years.
Creator, yeah.
And then he does a breakout, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right.
Could not be any funnier.
Yeah. Love it.
You agree?
It's one of my favorite shows.
And then you were telling me you had an opportunity to meet Larry David?
Yeah, I got to have dinner with him a bunch of years ago, which was like, when I moved to LA, I wrote down 5 names of people I wanted to meet, and he was the only one on that list I believe I met. But yeah, that was an incredible night. Yeah, we went out. We're in Santa Monica. When I lived in Los Angeles for a long time, and it was me and him and a few other people, and yeah, just getting to talk to him. It's about like my friend who had set up the dinner was like, just please don't talk about your career, and I was like, I don't have much to talk about at this point, so not a problem.
Yeah.
But it's like he's like my hero. So I knew everything about him. It's like if you're ever going on a date and you're kind of a stalker and you Google a person, and you like bring up subjects you can talk about because they like them. Like if you've looked at their Instagram or their Facebook, I knew that Larry David loved baseball, and I am a diehard baseball is like my religion. And so we were talking a lot about baseball and the Cubs, and I was making him laugh about when in 2003 when they debacle in Game 6 and they lost to the Marlins, and I was at both of those games. I stormed out like a 2-year-old in Toys R Us. I stormed out of Wrigley Field, and I called up my buddy on the L, and I was screaming, "We're cursed! I swear we're cursed!" Yeah, so we were talking about all that stuff, and the best was at the end. The bill came, and I wanted to be polite, so I got my credit card to pay for my dinner. And my friend was like, "Don't worry about it." And Larry goes, "No, give me your card. Give me your card. You can pay. It's fine." So he took the card, and then he gave it back to me. But it was just, it was.
But that shows a lot of class on your part.
Well, I mean,
you don't go to the dinner.
I would have been happy to pay for it. Like that would have, to say I took Larry David to dinner. But it's funny. A lot of comedians have sort of met him, and he's been, I don't know, maybe a little bit like more prickly or not super engaging. And so for my Larry David story, the fact that he was so warm and kind and we had such a great conversation, like I like cherished that night. It was weird because like this guy has been my hero for so long. For the first 15 minutes of the dinner, I couldn't look at him because it was such an out of body experience of like, I cannot believe like every Jewish kid who's gone into comedy, it's because of Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld.
Sure.
And the fact that I'm the one at this table with him right now, it was so surreal. But we just again like started talking about baseball and other things, and this was like right when like people could like take pictures and videos on their cameras. I guess that had been around for a little bit, but it was my very first experience of like being in a public setting with somebody that famous, where I would look around and people would just have they would be videotaping, and it was a really weird moment just to be like, wow, I'm like in a fishbowl right now. The fact that everyone's looking at this guy and looking at our table, and now getting to work with like different celebrities, and Charlie's very, very big. When I'm out with Charlie, it's like it's now like it's people. It's a constant meet and greet. And Charlie, he's very personable with people, and so. But yeah, that was like my very first experience. I wish I could have dinner with Larry David again. I mean, I'm greedy. I want it one more time.
Well, he's definitely inspiring. He has to be. inspiration for anybody. But just, here's that guy that, not that he had, like he needed, to break out and do his own thing. He was successful.
Very.
But he was the writer. And then the writer becomes the actual person in front of the camera.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's kind of you, though, is it not? I mean, you were the writer, and now here you are, and maybe you'll have that same success. And I think.
Oh man, I would take a tenth of that success. But yeah, no, I started as a writer, and it was I wasn't just so much fear of what will people doing stand-up comedy, what will people think, and although public speaking's never been like that giant of a fear of mine, in terms of I have plenty of others, but that is like one of the biggest fears people have is public speaking.
And I wonder why.
Yeah, there's I think it's Jerry Seinfeld said the number one, the fear of public speaking is a bigger fear than people who are fear of death. So it's like most people at a funeral would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I never really had that. But you know what I like to tell people who have always a question I get asked all the time is I want to do stand-up comedy. What do you suggest? And what was taught to me was go to open mics. Don't go up there. Well, I shouldn't. I encourage people not to go up there and tell these long 3 or 4 minute story that you and your family think's funny, because most people aren't going to understand it. It's more like
it's an inside joke.
Right. Exactly. So what was taught to me was write down 10 facts about yourself and 10 punchlines. I am Jewish and blank, or I was born in Chicago, so blank, or I am allergic to X, so blank, like those types of things. They don't have to be all that interesting. And then just start going up and just start doing setup, punchline, and then you sort of build a set. And people who do have a really strong fear of public speaking, I encourage those people to go try an open mic, because what you'll see is you'll go up there, most likely it won't go great, but you'll see the sky won't fall. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's that important, and you're like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's, it means nothing. People who have these fears, just go try an open mic. And then, see, I have heard some outlandish things at an open mic, or people have just acted bizarrely, whether they are just simply bizarre or they are on drugs or drunk. I can't tell you. I can't even remember any of it. I don't know. I mean, I don't even care. It was within an hour, I was I didn't care anymore.
Yeah, on to the next one.
Exactly. It's just not. And I mean, I'm talking about things that I'm just on stage. I'm like, oh my God. And now I cannot for the life of me remember, because it's not that important.
Yeah. And we're in this time too where, podcasts, when COVID hit, everybody started doing their podcasts. And, that's a little bit different. When you're just sitting in front of a camera and it's just you, there's nobody around. Like I said before, you don't have to worry about reaction. Maybe those jokes will fall flat, or maybe those jokes will be good.
Right.
But then if you use them in front of people, maybe they're not going to go as well. And people get it's like beer muscles. When someone says something and now you want to do a comment, like right now we have the text line. Somebody wants to send us a comment. And on YouTube, they could send comments to us as well.
Do you want to read the comment?
Well, there's nothing. We this time I didn't get any.
Oh, okay.
And I can't click it over the
Got
right
it.
way. But yeah, you'll get people that'll make comments that whether they're good, bad, or otherwise.
Yeah.
But they got all these beer muscles that they can say what they want because they're hiding behind the screen.
1,000%.
Right?
I mean, absolutely. I don't claim to be any great guy or I don't walk on water by any means. But what I will say is that I never leave a negative comment on anything ever, because I don't love it when it happens to me. I mean, it doesn't ruin my day, but I just refuse to be part of that negativity on the internet, which is just, it can be such a horrible place. I have a joke in I've turned a bunch of it into jokes, but just being Jewish on the internet these days, I'm called every horrible name, all that. I'm I have nothing to do with this, and it's just so easy, and people don't think to just sit there and write horrible things at you. And I just go and delete it, and they don't even know. They just move on to the next thing.
When you feed into it, it always makes it worse. Negativity brings more negativity.
Yeah.
And how are you going to combat ignorance? What are you going to say?
They're all they
Because they're
want
not
is a
going to hear
fight.
you.
No, they want a response so
They
they
want to
can
get a
fight with
rise
you.
out of you.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, like, even I think negative, critical things all the time.
Sure, who doesn't?
Right. But I just, it's just, I don't want to just do that to people. Especially also like, and this is, not super altruistic, but it's, almost in a, a way of not trying to hurt my career. But it's like, if there's some big stand-up who does a joke that I think's awful, I'm like, you stink, you're horrible, blah. And then 6 months down the road, I have an opportunity to open for them or work with them, and that comes back up. Then they're like, take a hike, man. Like, you want to write that about me? Like, so it's burning bridges with people.
Yeah.
And, I guess there are some people who don't care or are super famous. Like, as the call earlier, like with Cat Williams burns bridges and does not care. And there's part of me that really is in awe of that he just really doesn't care. But I don't know. I don't want to say negative things about people. And I've had, negative experiences with people or people who I don't understand their success, but it's also like not up to me to be in charge of that. And because if people really love so-and-so, a person who gets a lot of grief is Matt Rife. And Matt Rife and I do very different things. I'd love to, Matt Rife's in incredible shape. I'm working on it, but I'd love to look like that. But, I'm just like, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, right.
And
you have the option.
Yeah. And, and so I don't understand.
Did you buy a ticket to boo and hiss somebody?
Also,
why would you do that?
Anybody, regardless of what you think of them, for me as a stand-up comic, anybody who can move tickets like that, I have the just utmost respect for people. It is so hard to sell tickets as a stand-up comic. I mean, even people with huge followings, it's very hard for them to sell tickets. So, my buddy Charlie on his last tour, I think he sold 250,000 tickets. Yeah. That's that's incredible amount. Yeah, and so. And
I think Sam, one of his shows are sold out.
Yeah,
already?
The Saturday
Comedy Vault.
Yeah, the Comedy Vault. The Saturday early show sold out, but there's 2 tonight, 7 and 9:30, and then there's tomorrow at 9:30. And if you haven't been to the Comedy Vault, it's run by a woman named Liz Villedas, who I was introduced to through Sam a few years ago when he came here. And she has just created this beautiful venue that is in one of the old bank buildings in Batavia. And it is this club in Batavia, Illinois. It's like, who would go to Batavia, Illinois for a comedy show? But they have some of the absolute best audiences. The club is great. The acoustics are amazing. Liz is the best and has worked tirelessly to build this really incredible.
It's a very comfortable place.
Yeah, it's great. And again, it's people who come to these shows are are there to have a really good time and laugh at silly, stupid things and not take themselves that seriously. And yeah, it's I've never heard a negative thing about Comedy Vault. People just absolutely love, and they're getting bigger and bigger acts there. And so yeah, Liz has been such a huge champion of mine. And then in Chicago, Comedy Bar, which is attached to Gino's Pizza, run by Sahar Lane, who is a very, very dear friend of mine as well. And it's just, I really grew into being a stand-up comedian at the Comedy Bar. And I just hosted my first ever show there with Johnny Vitti, who he and I do a lot of the Chicago videos together. We did our first show together a couple of Wednesdays ago when it was frigid, and we had close to 100 people come out, which was so nice and so kind. And we had some great stand-up comics. We did some trivia.
So is there several for instance, at the Comedy Vault tonight, you're going to open up for
Sam, yeah.
So you're the only one that does the opening and he comes on?
No,
how does that work?
Sure. So there's a host to the show. The host will do 10 minutes and introduce each comic. I'll go on as what they call a feature or middle act, and I'll do 20 minutes, and then Sam will do 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And there have been, I don't host a lot, but I have, and then I have gotten to headline a little bit, and
is hosting a better spot to have? I wouldn't think it would be,
because
right?
they call it taking the bullet, because you're the first one to go out when not everyone's had their drink. So no, hosting is It's a real
Thank
tough
God
gig.
for the 2-drink minimum. Is that it?
Seriously, man, yeah. And the quicker you get them in, you're the faster. No, featuring's great. I mean, because I started stand up so late, I have not rushed the idea of like I have to be a headline. Like I would like to be a headliner within the next year and a half, and I have been building. Like when I go out on the road and I am headlining, I don't want to have 10, 15 minutes of good material and then like 30 minutes for like, let's see how this goes. Like I want to have at least 35 to 45 really solid minutes.
Right.
You know, I really, cause like, you only get one shot at a first impression, so I really want to make it count. And in terms of like, I see a lot of guys who are relatively new to stand up within their first 5 years or so, and they're filming a comedy special. And that's great if if they've worked really hard for that. But my thing is like, who is this for? You're putting it on YouTube. Not a lot of people are seeing it. Like, why? To me, it's like, why not really hone these jokes and your craft and really have like a really great 45 minutes you feel really proud of? Don't just throw it up on the internet just so you have something up there.
Yeah.
Right, just to have content. So if someone, if Netflix came to me tomorrow and said, Andrew, we want to give you X amount of dollars for a special, honestly, I'd say, I gotta work on this. Yeah. It's not ready. I don't because like I said, I started, and most people start stand up in their early 20s, and I was in my early 30s when I started stand up comedy. So I really, I really want to make it count. I want it to be the absolute best it can be. So I am constantly rewriting punchline, reworking jokes. I mean, I'm always working on things just because, just to get a couple of ha-ha chuckles, laughs. That's not good enough. This, early in this summer, I gutted a lot of my act. I sort of kept the bones of it, but I really started to rework a lot of punchlines and what I was talking about, because the laughs I was getting, they weren't good enough for me. They weren't strong enough. I didn't feel like I was going out there. I was doing fine, but I didn't feel great. And so I was like, I got to change up a bunch. And it was really scary because I was like, oh my God, I'm 5.5 years into this thing. And this is supposed to be my act. But,
so when you perfect an act,
yeah,
whenever you get to that point that you are, and you're doing your own headlining, mainlining, so do you keep that show or act for like 6 months, 3 months, or each night is it something a little bit different?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, you definitely I go in there with the act that I've worked really hard on, and then every show is different.
That's what I'm getting. So it's not like if I go to a show here, we're in Chicago, we're Batavia, St. Charles, blah, 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 blah. They're going to be just a little bit different.
Yeah, but
it's
it'll be
basic,
very similar.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, so
you don't want to. You can't rewrite them all because you say you memorize and you got to be right on. Comedy is timing. Yeah. We all know that.
It's what I'm so. I mean, I wish I could be a rock star in so many ways, but what I'm so jealous of is we were talking about in the beginning of the show, sort of these legacy acts where they've got 5, 6, 7, 8 hit songs, and you go to those concerts, if they don't play those songs, I'm going to be furious.
Right.
But if you go to a stand-up show and you hear that same joke, I already heard that joke. Yeah. So,
but there's some certain stories that people just love the way you say it. They want to keep hearing it.
Absolutely.
But you know which ones those are because you see the reaction.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's like once you film a special, to me, you then most often don't go tour with what you just shot.
I got you.
Because people have already seen it, especially now that Netflix or Amazon or Hulu on YouTube, it's just so prevalent to see all this content. When someone shoots a special, that is it. I think John Mulaney talks about from when he first starts working on a new act to filming a special, it's maybe 18 months or 2 years, and then it's he starts brand new. He's another guy who is a Chicago guy who I think is just one of the greatest writers, and if you're looking for a great stand-up special, his special he did, it was maybe a year ago, called Baby J on Netflix. Talks about his time getting sober and recovery and going into treatment. It was like a one-man show. It was hilarious. It was poignant. I was like, that was one of the best stand-up specials I've ever seen.
Neat.
Yeah.
So, like, again, another question I have. So tonight, you're performing with Sam. So, like, is that because you know Sam? He's invited you to be on his list of comedians?
I have secrets about him. Yeah, it's more of a black belt situation.
But in general, how does that work?
Sometimes the booker at the club will just be like, oh, I think they're a good fit, and so they'll have so and so come on. A lot of the times, though, it's really about who you know, just like in any business.
Well, sure.
And so, yeah, Sam and I have been buddies.
Why wouldn't you work with your friends?
Exactly.
You know.
So yeah, so Sam was coming. So yeah, he's had me open for him. Done it here. I've done it in Minneapolis. So yeah, it's that's also one of why I really try and work as clean as I can. Is I can go up for any audience. It's like if someone's got a really, really dirty act and they can't open for so-and-so, they have to retool their act that much. It wouldn't be able to do what they want to do. So I really, one of my strengths as a comic is like, you can put me basically in front of any audience. And I won't embarrass you or turn the show. I mean, also, like, keeping in mind what I was talking about earlier, when I'm on these shows, for the most part that I'm not headlining, I'm a guest on their show.
Right.
It's not my show. They're not there to see me. It's my job.
It's back to the privilege. You said that.
Exactly.
You feel this to be a privilege to 100%. Be in this place.
So a lot of people who are coming out tonight, I mean, maybe there are a couple people to see me, probably not, but a lot of them are to see Sam or just to come to the show. So it's my job to really warm up the audience, have them in a better mood, laughing more than they were 20 minutes when I got.
But it's also a good time for them to see you and know who you are.
Absolutely.
And remember who you are.
Yeah.
So as you're advancing up, and we're getting close, a couple of minutes away till we're going to be at the top of the hour. And I'm not trying to cut you off by no stretch, but I want you again to say, I know what it is already. I mean, I've already announced it, but say the different platforms, AndrewRoffey.com. It's Andrew, common spelling, ANDREW, last name ROFFE.com.
Yes, sir.
And that should get you to anything you need to get to be quite honest.
Yeah, right? All my social media links are there. But yeah, if you're on social media, it's ASAP_Roffey. Or you can just Google Andrew Roffey comedy or Andrew Roffey. So all my links are there. And I'm getting closer to like 25,000 followers on Instagram, which is good for Chicago, but still, I'm continuing to grow. And we had my buddy Johnny and I, we had a big video with Tom Skilling we did a couple of months ago.
Awesome, I saw it.
Dream come true to work with Tom, and that did really well. And my biggest video I did on my own was last fall. I did a video called When Italians Meet Jews.
Yeah.
And it was this little thing I did that I didn't think it would do that well. And like, man, it's like
I got the biggest kick out of it.
25 million views now on across social media. So yeah, if you've ever seen one of those, that very well could be me.
Everybody listening, WRMN here, let me tell you, what a guest. Thank you, Andrew, for coming in the studio.
This was so nice. Appreciate it.
We got Andrew Roffey here. We've had him for the past over an hour and a 15 minutes. We had Ron Onesti with him talking. This is a show you're going to want to go see. It's at the Comedy Vault in Batavia. Like he said, who goes to Batavia? Well, you're going to go there.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, you got to see my friend Andrew. And you're going to see us at the Arcada. I'm going to let everybody know when we're going.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to be my guest. We're going to have a nice dinner. We're going to see a show over there. But
we're going to see Styx.
You want to see Styx?
Sure.
We'll get it set up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Or Kenny Loggins.
WRMN,
Are you paying high fees?
1410 AM right here in Fox River Valley.
General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity.